Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. The Curse of Oak Island. Team learns a new theory connecting the Ark of the Covenant to the island. This week on The Curse of Oak Island, the team learned of a previous landowner with connections to the Freemasons, who may have sought out the Ark of the Covenant on the island. Digging at the money pit is still in full swing, and the team is hopeful that shaft number 4, DMT2, is narrowing in on the chapel vault. But this week on Oak Island, the most interesting action was actually happening on Lot 8 and in the war room. As the guys have expanded their search around the island, they started to make some interesting observations about Lot 8 on the west of the island. This area has never been inhabited, which adds to air of mystery surrounding it. Last year, surveyors performed an underground survey of Lot 8, which indicated that there was a large metal object buried under the ground. And just last week, ground-penetrating radar indicated the possible presence of a shaft at 20 feet below the surface. Gary Drayton's metal detector has also picked up several old artifacts. These factors, combined with Zena Halpern's map of the island, which was allegedly created by Templar Knights, and points to a mysterious hatch in the vicinity, all led to Marty Lagina trundling into Lot 8 with a mini digger. The Nova Scotian government had given the guys a permit to dig down 5 feet, better than nothing. But if they found evidence of human activity within those 5 feet, then they could apply for another permit to dig deeper. Unfortunately, Gary didn't detect any metal. He had been hoping for a nice jewelry box, but they did find what looked like a paved area just under the surface. It also appeared as though somebody had purposefully refilled a hole or shaft with rocks. Will it be enough to get a permit for further exploration? The guys hope so. Researcher has new theory connecting Oak Island to the Ark of the Covenant. Meanwhile, in the war room, Oak Island researcher and Freemason Scott Clark was back with a stunning new theory. He had examined a brooch that the team found 3 years ago, and he reckoned it was not a brooch at all but one of 12 jewels from the breastplate of a Masonic high priest. There's more. Scott has identified Melbourne Misdar Chappell, a former Oak Island landowner and son to famous treasure hunter William Chappell, as a Freemason. The Freemasons are suspected of being descended from the Templar Knights, who the guys believe may have buried ancient religious relics on the island. Scott believes that the younger Chappell may have been conducting an ancient ritual used in ancient times to locate no less an item than the Ark of the Covenant. He was unable to tell the guys if Mr. Chappell was looking for the ancient relic or if he had it stood somewhere on the island. Needless to say, the guys will investigate further. What's happening at the Oak Island Money Pit? At the Money Pit, drilling in the DMT2 shaft continued at breakneck speed. The guys are following in the footsteps of Irwin Hamilton's dig of 1940 and Gilbert Hedden's dig of 1937, both of whom excavated deep shafts in the area. Hedden got to a depth of about 124 feet before running out of funds, but he was convinced that the chapel vault lay 30 feet further down. Last night's episode saw the guys basically follow the Hedden shaft down to 120 feet, where they came across a large metal sheet, which was Hedden's protective shield. This shield protected Hedden's team from floodwater and cave-ins. The guys are now hopeful that all they need to do is dig a little further down to about 153 feet, where they'll find the treasure vault. Unfortunately, we'll have to wait until at least next week for that. For over a decade, The Curse of Oak Island has captivated audiences with the mystery of what lies beneath the surface of this enigmatic island off the coast of Nova Scotia. From buried treasure to sacred relics, the theories have ranged from pirate hordes to lost Shakespearean manuscripts. However, the latest theory presented to the team may be the most extraordinary and compelling yet: a connection between Oak Island and the Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of the Covenant, one of history's most sacred and mysterious objects, is believed to have held the original stone tablets of the Ten Commandments. According to biblical accounts, the Ark was a powerful religious artifact, its presence said to guarantee victory in battle, and its touch deadly to anyone unworthy. It disappeared from history after the destruction of Solomon's temple in 587 BCE. Since then, theories about its location have ranged from hidden Ethiopian churches to secret vaults beneath Jerusalem. But could this ancient relic have found its way to a small island off the coast of Canada? The new theory presented to Rick, Marty Lagina, and the rest of the team is based on a series of cryptic clues, historical connections, and intriguing maps. The idea hinges on the belief that the Ark was taken from the Holy Land by a secretive order, such as the Knights Templar, and transported across the seas to Oak Island, where it was hidden away in a complex, booby-trapped vault. The theory first grabbed the team's attention when they were approached by a researcher who had spent years studying ancient maps and religious texts. The researcher, who remains anonymous due to the sensitive nature of the information, claimed to have uncovered a previously overlooked connection between the Templars and Oak Island. The key, they said, lies in a map created by a 17th-century French cartographer, which includes symbols linked to the Templar Order and a curious annotation pointing directly to Oak Island. According to this researcher, the map was part of a larger set of documents tracing the journey of Templar treasure across Europe and ultimately to the New World. This theory ties into the well-established narrative that the Templars, fleeing persecution in the early 14th century, may have sought refuge and secrecy in distant lands. What if they carried not just riches, but the most sacred artifact in human history? The notion of Oak Island as a repository for religious relics is not entirely new. In previous seasons, the team has uncovered fragments of evidence pointing to the presence of religious and ceremonial artifacts on the island, from ancient crosses to curious inscriptions. However, the link to the Ark of the Covenant elevates the stakes considerably. The researchers' theory also draws upon historical records from the Vatican archives. According to these records, a mysterious expedition set out from France in the late 1600s, ostensibly on a mission to explore the Atlantic. However, the logs suggest a deeper motive: the transport of holy cargo to a secure location. The destination was never explicitly named, but coded entries and nautical bearings seem to align with Oak Island's coordinates. Excited by this possibility, the Lagina brothers convened a special meeting with their team of experts, including historians, archaeologists, and treasure hunters. Together, they pored over the evidence: old maps, ancient symbols, and cryptic passages from religious texts. Could the puzzle of Oak Island have been a decoy to protect something far more significant than gold and jewels? Further support for the theory emerged when the team re-examined the infamous 90-foot stone, which supposedly once marked the entrance to the money pit. The stone was inscribed with symbols that have puzzled researchers for years, but when reinterpreted through the lens of Templar symbolism, the characters took on a different meaning. Rather than simply indicating depth and distance, the symbols could be referencing key biblical passages related to the Ark's power and purpose. Intrigued but cautious, the team decided to refocus their digging efforts. If the Ark is indeed buried on the island, its resting place would likely be far more secure than any of the previously explored shafts or tunnels. Theories suggest that the Ark, if hidden by the Templars, would be protected by multiple layers of traps designed to prevent anyone from retrieving it unless they possessed the correct knowledge. This ties in with long-standing legends of Oak Island's booby-trapped treasure vaults, where attempts to dig deeper have been thwarted by flooding tunnels, collapses, and other hazards. The hunt took on a renewed intensity. As they scanned the island with advanced geophysical equipment, the team identified a series of underground anomalies that could represent man-made structures, vaults, chambers, or corridors. The pattern of these anomalies seemed to align with Templar architectural principles.